It's Bullseye. I'm Jesse Thorn. Next up, Tig Notaro. Tig's been on our show a few times before. When we last talked, it was 2014. She was kicking off her Boyish Girl Interrupted tour. Only a couple years before that, she was diagnosed with breast cancer. It's a topic that showed up in her stand-up comedy in a really honest, affecting way. In 2015, she collaborated with writer Diablo Cody to create the show One Mississippi. She's also the star. Her character, Tig, is a radio DJ who's moved from Los Angeles back to her home state of Mississippi. Just like Tig in real life, she's a cancer survivor, she's gay, and she's really, really funny. Let's take a listen to a little bit of the show's second season. In this scene, Tig's just rolled up to work, and she's barely gotten out of her car before she is approached by two local evangelists.
We're with New Hope Ministry, and we heard your radio show.
And we love your soul, firstly.
Why, thank you.
So it just pained us so much to hear your struggles.
Which struggles?
We've all been through it, too.
Yeah, and we just want you to know, despite the controversy around other ministries, it is possible to pray the gay away.
What if I want to pray the gay to stay?
No.
We don't want that. We want you to stop spreading that sinful stuff.
Yeah, and stop talking about it on your show.
Well, it's my show, and if I remember correctly, there's still a First Amendment, so feel free to not listen to my show.
Wait, here's a pamphlet, and that's my number on the back in case you need to discuss anything further. I'm Nikki.
Nikki, stop flirting with me.
Tig Notaro, welcome back to Bullseye. It's great to have you back on the show.
It's tremendous to be here.
Has anyone ever tried to convince you not to be gay?
You know what? One of the first people I came out to was this random therapist that I went to because I was trying to process my feelings for the person that ended up being my first girlfriend. And when I went to the session with her, I asked her what she thought, and she said, "I don't think you're gay." And I could tell that her reaction was homophobic. So, but aside from that, nobody ever tried to, my family's all been very supportive and friends.
What a disastrous
I know. It's like
attempt at self-care.
I know. It was really, I felt really stifled and confused. But it actually caused pretty immediate clarity right after.
Like immediately after?
Yeah. I thought, just in being told no, I felt like, yes. Yes, I am. So I could read through what was happening.
You know, when I was watching the second season of your show, after I watched the first season of your show, and the scene we just heard was from the second season, one of the things that surprised me was in that first episode of the second season, your character is basically forced to deal with bigotry. Mm-hmm. And I think in the first season of your show, it felt like you had made a self-conscious choice to just deal with your character being gay and you being gay. I mean, you sort of play yourself as almost incidental to the rest of the situation. And I wonder, why did you decide to introduce that theme in the second year?
Well, the first season, it was important to me to present my home state and my somewhat real hometown as the beautiful, loving place that it is in my mind, and based on the experiences I had and the acceptance my family and friends had. I thought it would be kind of an obvious thing to go into a show that takes place in Mississippi to show the dark, ugly side of it all. And I just didn't want to show that the first season. I wanted to go into other issues. And then going into the second season, I felt like it'd be irresponsible to completely ignore it as we moved forward in the series, because there is an ugly side. There is, there's there's everything that people know. But I wanted to show people what they didn't know, because in the first season, when I bring my girlfriend home, I had a lot of people ask, like, oh, why wasn't that? I thought that scene was going to be the awkwardness of, and I was saying, well, it's not a part of my life. I don't relate to that, even if I do bring somebody home to Mississippi.
Do you feel like part of your life as a coastal California Hollywood elitist is serving as a kind of weird ambassador for this other part of your life and identity as a Southerner? That you have to, like, explain to people what that means who are making presumptions or that kind of thing?
Well, I mean, I get into so many conversations with people when I tell them I'm from Mississippi. And there's always the immediate, like, oh, God, what is that like? Or, ugh, are you just thrilled you're out of there? And I'm very quick to defend my family and my memories and my time there and the physical beauty of the place, and also quick to to ask where they're from. And, you find out they're from New York or Illinois. And I'm like, are you not aware that there's racism and horror going on in other states as well? And I remember this one very well-known comedian that I was talking to. I asked him where he was from, and he said Illinois. And I said, is everybody just open-minded? He was like, no, they're racist. I was like, why is that the immediate reaction when I say I'm from Mississippi? I of course know, and I'm well aware, and I am right behind. We need to change things. I am a gay woman. I'm not the most celebrated being in Mississippi, but I just wanted to show that it's more complex, and beyond the state of Mississippi. That's what we wanted to do with the show, is how complex it is when you love your family, your friends, your state, your town. I didn't want to just go in with, hey, we're in Mississippi and everyone's dumb, and it's just not the world that I come from, that black and white.
You were an adult when you became a stand-up, right? Like,
Yeah.
You had been an adult for a minute.
Yeah, I was 26. I've been doing it for 20 years. I'm 46. I started at 26.
I mean, I feel like when I meet relatively few comics start past their mid-20s, although there certainly are plenty of them.
Uh-huh.
I feel like the thing that is missing once you're not 21 is basically foolhardiness.
Uh-huh.
Like, if you don't have like, I think a lot of 19-year-olds get on stage as stand-up comics at open mics because they think, of course, the world wants to know what they have to say about things. And, of course, they deserve to because they're 19.
Yeah.
And by the time you're 25 or 26, you've developed shame. And so you have to have other things pushing you in order to actually make that happen.
Well, yeah, it was, I think, up until that point, a lifetime of trying to get back on track and get back to where I was supposed to be. And
you mean like that A student, responsible adult track?
Well, to get away from,
Right.
Not that I was ever on that track. It's just that I was constantly being told I need to do this. I need to go to college. I need to pull it together, be responsible, be all these things, which makes sense. But I wanted to go to an arts school when I was a teen, and my stepfather would not let me. And it's one of those things where it's like, why not? It's like I was playing guitar every second of the day. I was constantly drawing. I was constantly, those are my two obsessions, was music and art. And I mean, I loved comedy, but I didn't know that was an option out there. But I just wanted to express myself in some way. And my mother supported it. My mother was an artist, and that was the funny thing, was that my stepfather was drawn to my mother and accepted all of that in her, but it was utterly unacceptable from me. It was fine to do in my room, but no, that's not the route you're going to take in life.
Your stepfather is a character on the show.
Mm-hmm.
The show, the sort of inciting incident of the show is in part, one of the huge inflection points in your life and your career, which is that you had a relatively short period of time where you broke up with your girlfriend, had got cancer, had another life-threatening health condition, and lost your mother. Mm-hmm. And that's sort of what happens both to start One Mississippi and over the course of the first season of One Mississippi. And your stepfather on the show is based on your stepfather. Mm-hmm. And he's so... I think it's rare that I have seen a character on TV portrayed as so square, dorky, and possibly maybe socially awkward, possibly on the autism spectrum, but also so sweetly and sensitively portrayed. Uh-huh. I wonder if it was hard for you to have the distance from your stepdad to realize the things that you wanted to show about him.
Well, I mean, who knows what I'm actually aware of and what's really going on. But I knew that I wanted to take that side of him that was so militant and so rigid and really make that who he was. And I also wanted to make him, I remember saying in the writer's room, I want to make him essentially the hero in almost every situation, because even when he's wrong or misguided, he's really trying. And this is a side of him that surfaced when my mother died. And he started following my career, and he started calling me, and he came out to visit me, and really has extended himself in a way that didn't exist before.
I want to play another clip from One Mississippi. So your character on the show is a radio DJ and a monologist. On the show, she sort of tells a story from her life and then weaves music in with it. And in the second season of the show, you've moved to Mississippi. You're working with a woman who you're kind of romantically interested in, who's played by your real-life wife, Stephanie. And she is, as far as she's concerned, straight, which I think was also the case with your real-life wife, Stephanie, before the two of you got together. Anyway, this is from the first episode of the second season. Tig, you've just finished telling a story about something that happened in your life that seemed like it was going to be an incident of molestation, but turned out to be completely benign. And then Stephanie's character, whose name is Kate, chimes in, and she has a story too.
Well, I was almost molested too.
What, is this a competition now? Let's hear yours.
Like, when I was in high school, I played field hockey, and one day my coach informed everybody that he could tell who was on their period based on a scent they gave off.
No. I'm saying, no, he could not tell, but also, no, that's wrong.
I know. And so he had everybody line up, and he went down the line smelling everybody's
Sure.
private areas.
Got it.
And what's so crazy is at the time, I didn't even realize what he was doing was weird. I was just keeping score in my head to see how many he got right, which, by the way, he was getting them all wrong.
Well, of course. And by the way, you were molested.
Right. But I mean, not really, though.
Yeah, really.
Tig, I don't know if you know this, but sexual harassment and sex assault have been in the news recently.
I've caught a headline.
And in fact, it was, as we're who knows what the future holds, but as we're recording this, the broad variety of allegations about Harvey Weinstein are very fresh, and they've led to a lot of women on social media sharing their own stories of sexual harassment and sexual assault. Mm-hmm. And that sort of is what this episode of the show is about. Mm-hmm. What's that like for you?
To see all this come to the surface?
Most of it's not good stuff.
Well, I mean, it was we have an all-female writers' room, and all of us had experienced assault or harassment to some degree or another, and we felt very driven by sharing this storyline, because aside from personal stories, we also knew of people and situations that were still going on and celebrated individuals, and it was really sad and disheartening, and we just thought, we have this opportunity to share our stories or our friends' stories, and it's truly an epidemic that we never imagined would start breaking through. And it's something that I really did not think, as hopeful as I am, I did not see this sort of breakthrough happening.
One of the things about having an all-female writers' room is that you're in a really unusual professional situation, which is when you're in a TV writers' room, you're there specifically to share stories with each other as important as possible. Mm-hmm. Right? Like, just like famously when they started writing Freaks and Geeks, Paul Feig came in and he and Judd Apatow were like, okay, everybody write all the worst things that happened to you in high school on an index card. That's where we're, And I imagine that being able to have that kind of situation is one of the reasons that you might want to have a female writer's room, that you would have a situation where when you're looking for those stories, people feel comfortable sharing stories that they otherwise would only share in a non-professional situation.
Yeah, I mean, our writer's room is, there is a boo-hoo probably every other day.
It's a really funny show, by the way.
I know. It's totally.
Even goofy sometimes.
Yeah, there is humor, but I feel like the humor is as real as the drama is. It's, and there's silly breaks in reality that we go into, but yeah, the writer's room is you have to feel 100% supported and safe to share exactly what you think, feel, experienced, and I'm forever indebted to these writers for sharing their stories and weaving them into mine to make certain experiences seem believable and real for myself, and to write so well in my voice, and it's really something. I feel so lucky.
I want to play a clip from the show So this is your character, and my guest is Tig Notaro, the creator of One Mississippi. And you're meeting with the owner of the radio station that you at which you work with your producer Kate, and Kate has just had a terrible experience with a male superior, and as I think we mentioned, Kate is played by your wife, Stephanie Allen.
Mm-hmm. Obviously, I'm taking this to HR.
HR? Can't you just fire him?
Sadly, no. It's a legal thing. They have to investigate. But we'll get him fired, trust me.
But he doesn't get to be here while they're investigating it.
Well, they usually just try and figure a way you don't have to deal with him while they're looking into it.
So he just gets to masturbate at everyone while HR's looking into it.
I can't imagine he'll masturbate at everyone.
It's fine.
We should just go to the police then.
Police? Really?
Yeah, it's a crime. It's assault.
The police aren't going to care about a producer masturbating at someone. I mean, to them, that's less of a violation than parking in a loading zone.
It's terrible, but I just think we have to handle it internally.
It's a really intense scene.
Yeah.
It is a good joke, though. I don't think he's going to masturbate at everyone.
Yeah, see, there's a little comedy here and there in the show.
I mean, Tig, you don't have to talk about this if you're talked out about it, or your judgment. It's a edited show.
Okay.
There was reporting on rumors that exact behavior was something that the comedian Louis C.K. did, who's an EP on the show. I think he's. I don't think he's actively involved in the production of the show.
He's for sure not.
Did you choose the act involved in that storyline advisedly?
So it's a firsthand account from somebody that in their professional world experienced that. And there's, as we've seen and we've heard and will probably continue to hear, there are plenty of people that have done this. And, it's not my place to call out names. It's whether it's who's being accused or who is a victim, but it is my place to tell this story, to speak up for people that need the support, and I'm very firmly planted in that position, and however it comes out or doesn't come out, that's not my job. But again, all of the writers' room have experienced assault and harassment, and we felt like that particular scene was one that I think is confusing for people and maybe not a well-known way of harassing or assaulting someone. And I think it's really well done.
Well, Tig, I don't have any more questions for you, so...
So should we keep going?
I really want to thank you. I love the show so much, and I just think you're the best. So I'm really...
I appreciate that.
I'm really grateful that you came and did the show.
Well, the feeling is mutual. I think you're doing great stuff, and I'm happy for you.
Tig Notaro. Both seasons of One Mississippi are available to stream on Amazon right now. Check it out there.